Hi, good morning. My name is Helman Sitohang, and many of you in the audience probably know me as the CEO for Credit Suisse in Asia Pacific, as well as board member for Credit Suisse in Zurich. Today, I'm here in my other capacity as a board member of Room to Read since 2010, and also ASEAN chairman for Room to Read since 2018. I'm grateful for the opportunity to introduce Room to Read and its work in Asia. Founded in 2000, Room to Read is a global nonprofit organization focused on creating a world free from illiteracy and gender inequality. Through its literacy and girls' education programs, Room to Read helps young learners develop a habit of reading and support adolescent girls to be able to succeed in school and navigate key life decisions. So to date, Room to Read has benefited more than 23 million children and has worked in 20 countries and 48,000 communities. Room to Read roots lie in Asia. Since building its first library in Nepal in 2000, Room to Read has expanded its work within Asia to Bangladesh, Cambodia, India, Indonesia, Laos, Myanmar, Sri Lanka, and Vietnam, helping young learners unlock their full potential by working directly with governments to implement long-term solutions. As we face the greatest education crisis of this generation, Room to Read is poised to remove roadblocks to learning for children in Asia who face great hurdles to quality education. I'm proud to be part of Room to Read. As an initial supporter of the Room to Read's expansion into Indonesia many years ago, I've seen personally the difference Room to Read has made, and it's remarkable to witness so many children transform into lifelong readers. They carry great promise for the future of their country and the world. Room to Read's mission aligns with Credit Suisse commitment to practice corporate responsibility. Education stands as one of our core values, and we are glad to partner with Room to Read to advance global society. So I'm honored to be here with you today as we learn more about the solutions that will help children in Indonesia build a better future for themselves. So I'd like to turn the time over to Joel Bacha, Room to Read Global Project Director, who I personally also have worked together in starting our initiative in Indonesia. He will later be joined by Geetha Murali, CEO of Room to Read. Thank you, and over to you, Joel.
Thank you very much, Helman. Ladies and gentlemen, Joel Bacha, I'm the Room to Read Global Project Director. I've had the pleasure of working with Room to Read for the past 11 years in a few different capacities. And I am incredibly humbled right now to be speaking on behalf of our colleagues in Indonesia, as well as Vietnam, India, and South Africa, who work incredibly hard to support children's education and literacy in their local contexts. Ladies and gentlemen, the pandemic, as we know, has created a critical need to build capacity within local education systems to support learning recovery, whether children are in the classroom, at home, or in the transition back to school. And today, I'm honored to be able to share how digital tools coupled with literacy interventions can help mitigate learning loss and establish scalable ways to support children's learning in low-income communities around the world. I'll be sharing an illustrated example from Indonesia. As the fourth most populated country in the world with 800 living languages, Indonesia is an incredibly diverse country. While rich in history and culture, however, Indonesia still lags behind in education. For every 100 students who enter school, it is commonly cited that only 25 will come out meeting minimum international standards in literacy and numeracy. Children also lack access to appropriate reading materials to support literacy development. In 2014, for example, Room to Read found that less than 7% of the storybooks in the market were suitable for children who are beginning to read. The books either had a lot of text on the page or vocabulary that was too high, or books were translated from other countries and cultures that were difficult to relate to for children. Teachers also need additional support, as only 1 in 3 teachers has received training related to reading instruction. In this past year, these challenges have been exacerbated by widespread school closures affecting some 69 million children. However, there is a bright spot. As a result of the pandemic, the national education agenda has also shifted a bit, prioritizing more good books, ensuring children in schools have access to those books, and training teachers on how to use books through reading activities and school libraries. This shift in education also aligns with Room to Read's core program work in Indonesia. At Room to Read, we are focused on providing every child in Indonesia with an opportunity to develop a habit of reading. Our vision for Indonesia is that every government primary school, that's 144,000 primary schools around the country, has access to a functional school library and a high-quality collection of books. And this library has trained teachers who know how to manage the library and a dedicated library period where every class in a school can visit the library at least once a week. Indonesia launched our first literacy project in Indonesia in 2014. And today, we work together with local publishers, writers, and illustrators to develop those high-quality children's books that were lacking in the market 7 years ago. We work with local NGO partners, local governments, and communities to establish school libraries with great collections of books for children and train teachers to conduct fun and engaging reading activities with their students. To date, we have worked with our partners, local governments, and communities to develop more than 110 original children's books in Bahasa Indonesia. We've distributed more than 600,000 copies of these books to almost 10,000 schools throughout the country, and established 210 school libraries across 3 separate regions. All up, we are reaching over 190,000 children in Indonesia today. Our work with partners in Indonesia has flourished over the past 7 years, but as we witnessed the power of in-person literacy interventions, we knew that building digital capabilities into our programs would allow for an increased reach and scalable education change. In 2017, Room to Read received a grant from Google.org, which led to Literacy Cloud. Literacy Cloud is our digital learning platform that offers high-quality digital storybooks for teachers, parents, and children, video guides for teachers, as well as professional development resources for local writers and illustrators. By the end of 2021, with the support of the Ministry of Education and Culture of Indonesia, and as well as our local education partners and communities, Literacy Cloud will have reached teachers, parents, children, writers, illustrators across at least 20 districts in Indonesia. As the COVID-19 pandemic made its way across the world last year, our experience with Literacy Cloud gave us a glimpse into the potential of technology, and we quickly pivoted to ensure that children in Indonesia had access to quality learning materials, even while at home. During the school closures due to the pandemic, for example, the Indonesian Ministry of Education included Literacy Cloud as a recommended resource for its Learning at Home program and included over 50 storybook titles from Literacy Cloud in their program modules. As the pandemic continued in 2021, we were able to use the resources on Literacy Cloud to train teachers virtually on how to conduct fun and engaging reading activities online with children. And this virtual training opened up a whole new potential to scale our work. As a result, this year, we are also working with the Ministry of Education to conduct 3-day national webinars with follow-on coursework for teachers. This activity culminates in teachers conducting reading activities online with their students, as well as receiving certified professional development credit from the Ministry of Education. Since January, we have reached over 6,000 teachers across the country through these webinars. So, ladies and gentlemen, it is this virtual training using the resources on Literacy Cloud that we hope to take to the next level under this call to action. Next year in Indonesia, we will apply virtual training to our school library model and aim to establish libraries with at least 180 schools, beginning to scale school libraries at a pace more quickly than ever before. Next year, we hope to do in 1 year what it's taken us 6 years to do through in-person training. Taking what we've learned from Indonesia, we will adapt this model of virtual training using the resources on Literacy Cloud and take it to Vietnam, where we will work with the Ministry of Education and Training and local NGOs to scale libraries to schools in every province in the country. We will take it to South Africa to support the Department of Basic Education to achieve its goal to make reading materials available to teachers and children in all 9 national South African languages. And in India, we will use Literacy Cloud and virtual training to train teachers across at least 6 states on early grades reading instruction. So with these opportunities in mind, I'd like to just take a step back and share a brief video to provide a glimpse of some of the benefits of our literacy program in Indonesia, as well as the impact that virtual training with the resources on Literacy Cloud can have as we aim to bring this work more to scale. So may we have the video, please?
Kalau perpustakaan yang dulu dengan yang sekarang, setelah dapat artinya perpustakaan ramah anak ini jauh sekali perbedaannya. Jadi kalau perpustakaan dulu.
The old library was like a storage room where the student rarely visited because it was not an interesting place, and the books were mostly academic texts. Now the library is comfortable and there is a wide variety of the children's book. And the storylines and the cover are also very interesting. Indeed, it might look like a fairy tale, but if we read it closely, this book also contains academic and character building set. Hopefully, this program can instill a love for reading in our children. I'm happy to have a new library. There are lots of books. We feel comfortable in the new library. The library is much better now. There are a lot of painting and bookshelf, and the books are good.
Kami terus berkomitmen untuk
We are committed to supporting the habit of reading platform by working with the social stakeholder to develop the digital platform. Literacy Cloud, which consists of the high-quality storybook for the children in Bahasa Indonesia and other languages. And also the literacy profession development video for the teacher to support effective reading activity for the children. And video for the book creator to support the development of high-quality children's books. We hope to reach more teachers, parents, and children with great story, so that they can enjoy reading books at school and at home, anytime and anywhere. Because with access to digital library, more read equivalent to more learning. Room to Read and the partner in Indonesia. Thank you. Terima kasih, Jin. So.
Khususnya terhadap sekolah-sekolah di Indonesia ada 400.000 anak-anak membutuhkan
more children in Vietnam, South Africa, and India under this call to action. Because of our investors like Credit Suisse and Helman Sitohang, the Temasek Foundation, corporate partners like Bloomberg, Atlassian, and Google, and our entire ASEAN board, to date, we have been able to help more than 198,000 young Indonesian learners improve their future learning. With continued support, we can leverage those investments and our strong relationships with local partners and governments to create more change through a love of reading. So with that, I'd like to introduce Geetha Murali, our amazing Room to Read CEO, who will talk more about the need for inclusive education throughout the world. Thank you.
Thank you, Joel, and hello from California. As Joel mentioned, I'm Geetha Murali, CEO of Room to Read, and it is my absolute pleasure to be with you today. Helman and Joel have introduced Room to Read's work in Indonesia. Helman and Credit Suisse, of course, were instrumental in supporting our initial expansion into the country in 2014, and I'm deeply grateful to Credit Suisse for their partnership in ensuring that children in Asia have every opportunity to an education that benefits them in every step of life. I'd also like to thank two additional partners present today, Bloomberg Philanthropies, whom we're honored to call our partner for this event, and Atlassian Foundation, a strong advocate for education. Both are longtime supporters of Room to Read and have been critical to furthering our mission. Temasek was also part of our founding consortium in Indonesia. Thank you. I also thank our ASEAN board members, many of whom are in the audience today. We appreciate these partners' commitment to our collective efforts towards world change through education. I hope that your time with us so far has impressed upon you the importance of foundational education. Every day, all over the world, I witness its power to serve as the single most effective tool in combating the world's biggest challenges. It unlocks the imagination and the abilities of millions of change makers. We are deeply committed to supporting teachers, students, and local NGOs in Indonesia with the knowledge and skills to provide both classroom and remote learning through all channels available to them, be it to digital platforms, videos, or books. I'd like to take a moment to discuss the current state of education around the world, which has reinforced our commitment to facilitating inclusive education across Indonesia and beyond. As Helman and Joel have mentioned, the COVID-19 pandemic has led to the single largest threat to inclusive and equitable education in modern times. To illustrate the scale, it's disrupted education for more than 1.6 billion children. 2/3 of the world's school-age children did not have internet access at home during the pandemic, and nearly 77 million children have not set foot in a classroom in the past 18 months. Because of the pandemic, 10 million additional girls are at risk of child marriage, and 24 million children in danger of dropping out of school permanently. Many of the world's most vulnerable children are still not back in the classroom and do not yet have access to remote learning support after prolonged school closures. And as learning losses continue to grow, the World Bank estimates that an additional 72 million primary school children will experience learning poverty, which means that most will be unable to read and understand a simple text by age 10. As the world began to change last year, Room to Read quickly realized that we would need to adapt our intervention strategies to help support students' learning in whatever circumstances they found themselves, whether at home or in school. We focused on digitizing reading books and uploading current and new children's book titles to our digital learning platform, Literacy Cloud. We facilitated read-alouds of children's books to be shared online. Transitioning to virtual training and workshops for teachers, authors, and illustrators. And we built on the strong existing relationships with government stakeholders and partners, thereby engaging with Ministry of Education personnel all over the world as they planned their education response to the COVID-19 pandemic. And our efforts have been successful, as seen in Indonesia, where we've supported system-wide efforts for learning continuity in collaboration with the government. What makes our work different is that we're able to pair online connectivity with human connectivity through community-based operations. The COVID-19 pandemic opened opportunities to build closer connections between the community and the classroom in the interest of children's learning, and has allowed Room to Read to develop new ways of working with and supporting teachers, families, and students. A way of working that will continue far beyond the pandemic. As we look to grow our online resources, we will focus on scaling our digital platform to support government efforts, build teacher capacity for literacy development with a focus on dynamic and interactive reading activities. We'll develop a suite of digital professional development content and training resources for teachers, educators, and coaches, including video and online course content. We will also continue to develop our very well-loved children's books in local languages. With your support, our work will be mirrored throughout Asia and Africa so that all children can catch up on missed learning opportunities while remaining solution-oriented and hopeful about the future. We look forward to taking what we learned in Indonesia and scaling further through program implementation in South Africa, Vietnam, and India, where we'll be able to support educators across a range of communities and languages with virtual training and digital resources available on Literacy Cloud. Our collaboration with governments will establish flexible and scalable ways of learning so that they can provide stability that children can rely on. At Room to Read, we believe that world change starts with educated children. When a child learns to read, they unlock a greater ability within themselves to create positive change in their homes, families, communities, countries, and even the world. They empower themselves to take the first step towards a better future. The pandemic has not been kind to children. We face an enormous global challenge, and we welcome opportunities to work with like-minded organizations that support equity in education for all children around the world. They do need us. And your support today will help thousands of children rise above the challenges that the past 18 months have exacerbated, ensuring a chance for learning and lifelong success for so many who need it. Room to Read has the expertise and partnerships to deepen our impact and bring the joy of reading to many young and aspiring learners in Indonesia, South Africa, Vietnam, and India, but we can't do it alone. We appreciate your consideration of this opportunity for impact. Thank you.